Hey guys, this week we're going to be focusing on analyzing character development. This is RL 6.3, just like we did the week before spring break. Describe how the characters respond or change as the plot moves towards a resolution. We're going to be focusing in on a few things whenever we're reading today and this week. What makes you relate to a character? Authors give clues about their character's physical appearances and unique characteristics, or traits. Okay, so we're going to focus on traits. Those are characters' physical appearances and unique characteristics. They also provide details that show characters' attitude. Attitude is how they think, act, and feel. And then the character's motivation is the reason for why they do something, why they do an action. Often characters' attitude and motivation change during the course of a story. As events unfold, readers learn more about a character based on how that person responds to challenges. Think about how the boy in the picture below changes. So we're going to take a look at this boy right here. Okay, at the beginning, you can see from his facial expression that he has ice cream and he seems like he maybe is holding it away from the little girl. Maybe it's his sister or just a little girl that he is familiar with, and he's holding the ice cream cone up so she can't reach it, and he's happy. It kind of makes you think that he may be a little bit mean at first, but in the second picture, you can see that she's crying, and you see that his facial expression changes as well. And so he kind of feels sorry and bad based on his facial expression changing. So then at the end, he decides to give it back to her, and you can tell that she's happy and you can tell that he's happy. So he's glad that she's happy again. So readers, just like we did in this comic, use details to form opinions and make judgments about a character. As a story or plot unfolds, your ideas might change based on how a character grows or changes in response to a conflict. Okay, so one thing that good readers do is use details to form opinions and make judgments about characters. For example, the first image shows the boy's mean, but then later you learn that he regrets his actions and does the right thing. Just like real people, characters often learn from their mistakes, and you learn about them in the process. And you can see that characters often change while you're reading something. They might be one way in the beginning and then change as the story goes on. Okay, so we're going to practice this by reading Lost. Okay, so you're going to we're going to read the first part about a girl named Rosalind. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read Lost by Janelle Ager. Peanut, Rosalind bellowed hoarsely for the 50th time as panic coursed through her veins. How often had Graham said, Ross, without you and Peanut, I'd be lost. Well, now, yappy, pampered little Peanut was lost. I was so distracted by my texting that I dropped his leash. Rosalind groaned miserably. How can I face Graham? Peanut! Rosalind hollered into the dense woods. I have to be careful, or I'll get lost too, she worried. I need a map. Rosalind darted into Graham's house, returning moments later with a pencil and paper. 10 steps, tree. She scribbled and illustrated. Peanut! Then 12 left, bush. Yep! Peanut barked frantically. As Rosalind finally caught a glimpse of him, his leash tangled in branches and his paws flailing, Rosalind shed tears of joy. So we're just going to kind of think about what kind of person Rosalind is based on her responses to events. So one way that you can do that, here's a strategy that you could use in your own number 3 whenever I said use a strategy that your book might lend itself to. One strategy could be to make a graphic organizer that has your event and the response from your character. So an event, we'll fill in the chart to practice. The event is Peanut gets lost. And I can go back up here and I can take a look that whenever Peanut gets lost, I can tell that Rosalind is upset because Graham loves Peanut. And right here I can tell that she's upset because she bellowed hoarsely for the 50th time as panic coursed through her veins. That means that she's upset because she's been calling and calling and she's feeling really panicked. And she knows that Graham loves Peanut because she says, how often had Graham said, Ross, without you and Peanut, I'd be lost. So now, and she obviously doesn't really have that great of an opinion about Peanut because she's calling him yappy and pampered. It's kind of a negative connotation about Peanut up there. But she does know Graham loves him. So the next thing is that she worries about getting lost too. So the thing that she does, if I go back and look, she says, I have to be careful or I'll get lost too. And she says, I need a map. And she darts in, returning moments later with a pencil and a paper to draw her map. So her response to being worried about getting lost is that she makes a map. And then at the end, Rosalind sees Peanut, and whenever she sees her, I can go back up and look, and when she sees her and finds her, she sheds tears of joy. So her response is that she sheds tears of joy. Okay, so if I wanted to write a description about Rosalind's character and using details from the story, I could say that when Graham's dog gets lost, Rosalind is upset even though she wasn't paying attention. Or I could say even though she was busy on her phone or distracted by her phone. Okay, so I might say, but she cares about Graham, about Graham's feelings, and feels relieved when she finds Peanut. So she definitely cares, but she's also distracted. Okay? So those are some things that have happened. So at the beginning, she's panicked. She moves to being relieved because she sheds tears of joy. So you see how her character kind of changed. Let's keep reading to see if her character, if she as a character changes a little bit more. Okay. Oh, Peanut! Relief flooded over Rosalind as she rushed toward the distressed dog. I've never been so thrilled to see anyone. She tangled the leash and embraced the disgruntled animal. Then, referring to her map with satisfaction, Rosalind retraced her steps and escorted Peanut out of harm's way. Later, when Graham returned home, Rosalind confessed everything. I'm sorry, she concluded. I'd be lost without you and Peanut. So we're going to look at the question. It says, why does Rosalind's attitude towards Peanut change? Let's take a look. A says, losing Peanut makes Rosalind realize how important the dog is to both her and Graham. B says, Rosalind is sure she'll get into trouble for texting instead of watching Peanut. C says, her fear of getting lost in the woods makes Rosalind sympathize with the lost dog. And D says, Rosalind is grateful to Peanut for giving her the chance to become a better person. So if I was looking at the last paragraph, it says, later when Graham returned home, Rosalind confessed everything. I'm sorry, she concluded, I'd be lost without you and Peanut. So I can tell right here that A is my best choice because losing Peanut made her realize how important the dog is to both her and Graham. So she actually changes him in the beginning where she thinks he's yappy and pampered to realizing that she'd be also lost without the dog being around. So as you can see, we have seen how a character can change, and you can see that her motivation was to at first was because of Graham's feelings, but at the end she realizes that she also loves the dog. Another thing that you should look at is her attitude. Her attitude changed about Peanut from the beginning to the end as well. Okay, so after this week, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be practicing the same skills. You're going to be reading this play called Reaching the Top. It's about a character named Yu. Yu does not stay the same throughout the play. To help me analyze this growth, I'm going to underline clues from the play that show how his character develops. If you will do the close reading, and circle particular words. Circle particular words you says that show what he thinks about hiking at the play's start. And then at some point, use attitude changes and draw a box around the line that shows the shift in his feelings. Okay, so read that, and then you'll have 3 questions to answer about that. Don't forget to get full credit for number 3. You need to tell me how and why. So there are 2. How and why does you change during the play? Don't forget to include cite evidence. So you need to actually have quotes and things like that from very specific examples from the text. Okay, then you're going to read this story it's from Departure by Sherwood Anderson. What I did whenever I read this story is I paid real close attention to my characters and some character traits. Your main character is George Willard. Okay, there's a lot of characters in this little bit, and you're gonna probably want to read this at least twice to really get what's happening here and to really get to the feeling of George Willard. Okay, so you're gonna read that, and then the actual questions on this PDF for some reason are different. It's the same story, but the questions are different than what's in the Google form. So don't pay attention to these questions on the PDF because they are different than the ones in the form. So I just wanted to point out that they are different, and I'll show you how they're different. So the number 1 might be a little bit similar, but number 1 says, how does George's attitude towards his hometown change as events unfold? So you have to tell me how his attitude toward his hometown changes. Number 2, he thinks more about his past than his future as he's leaving Winesburg. Which of the following sentences best supports this statement? Okay. And then number 3, you're going to check 2 words that describe George based on evidence from the text. So you're going to pick 2, just 2. All right. And then number 4, in order to get full credit, see, this is a 20-point question. It says he has a hard time leaving Winesburg because he realizes how much the people in the place have meant to him. Write a paragraph in which you agree or disagree. So you would say, like, I agree that he has a hard time leaving Winesburg because, and tell me specific things. It says write a paragraph. So a paragraph, you should have probably at least 4 to 5 sentences. At least. Cite textual evidence. Okay, don't forget that part. If you're not citing the textual evidence, you're finding that your grade's going to be lower because I grade it on a 20-point scale for those. So don't forget to write in complete sentences, cite your evidence. Okay, thank you so much. You guys, good luck on your assignment, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you Monday morning at 10, 10:30, and 11.